All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about one of the most misunderstood and honestly, one of the most powerful concepts in social dynamics seduction. And no, we're not just talking about romance. We're talking about seduction as the ultimate tool for social influence, drawing from the incredible work of Robert Greene. So let's get into it. This quote from Greene himself just nails it, doesn't it? It completely reframes the whole idea. This isn't some niche topic. It's a fundamental human skill. It's about persuasion, it's about marketing, leadership, connection. Really, it's the art of getting people to lower their defenses and willingly, enthusiastically move in your direction. So, to really get a handle on this, we've broken this explainer down into 5 key parts. We're going to start by redefining the whole concept, then we'll get into the single most important mindset you need. After that, we'll learn how to really understand people, walk through a step-by-step blueprint, and wrap up with the core principles you have to know. Okay, first things first, we need to build a whole new framework here. So I want you to forget everything you think you know about the word seduction. Let's start looking at it for what it really is, a form of power. This is really the modern definition. See, it's not about force or being pushy, it's the total opposite. It's a psychological game that works by being subtle, by being indirect. And you see it everywhere, in brilliant marketing campaigns, in powerful political speeches, in truly effective leadership. It's about creating a pull, not a push. And that's exactly why this is more important now than ever before. You know, in the past, maybe you could use brute force to get what you wanted. But today, influence is the new currency. The ability to persuade, to charm, and to attract others to your side. That's what creates real change and opens doors. Okay, so if this is a skill you can learn, where on earth do you start? Well, it all boils down to one single fundamental shift in your mindset. This is the golden rule that everything else is built on. Now just look at this contrast. It's fascinating. On the left is where most of us live, right? We're trapped in our own heads, constantly worried about how we're coming across. But on the right, that's the mindset of a true influencer. You literally turn off that internal noise and you point all of your focus outward onto the other person. You basically become a detective of their inner world. So why does this outer directed thing work so well? It's simple, really. Most people are absolutely starving for attention. I mean, think about it. In our day-to-day lives, we almost never feel like someone is truly, deeply listening to us. So when you offer someone that kind of focused attention, you're giving them a gift that is unbelievably rare. You're validating their existence, and that creates an intensely powerful bond. All right, so once you make that mental switch, the next job is to get specific. It's not enough to just pay attention. You have to figure out the particular psychological void in the person you want to influence. What is the one thing they secretly, desperately crave? Greene lays out a bunch of these archetypes, and here are just a few examples. Think of it this way. The beauty is almost always insecure that people only value their looks, so you can influence them by praising their intelligence. The professor needs to feel intellectually superior, so you let them teach you, you let them feel in control. And the new prude, the person who publicly attacks vice but secretly craves it, you become their safe, thrilling guide to the forbidden. Each type has a unique psychological gap just waiting to be filled. Okay, so we get the mindset and we get the goal, but how do you actually do it? That brings us to the blueprint, a step-by-step process for actually building that influence from the ground up. Phase 1 is all about waking up their desire. The goal here isn't some big, flashy gesture. It's about gently pulling them out of their boring old reality and just occupying their mind. It starts with choosing the right person, someone who seems a little restless or open to something new. Then you operate with total subtlety, sending mixed signals to create mystery. You can even create a triangle, making yourself seem more valuable because other people want you. And most importantly, you mirror their values and their energy, creating this spooky sense of deep connection. Now, in phase 2, you lead them astray. That initial interest they have is fragile, so your job is to make it deeper, to solidify it. You do this by keeping them in suspense with unexpected moves, using thoughtful gestures to show you're paying incredibly close attention, and, this is a good one, strategically showing a little bit of vulnerability. This whole combo makes them drop their guard and feel like they're in control, all while you're quietly making them more and more reliant on you. Phase 3, this is where the trap is set. At this point, you're becoming an emotional necessity for them. This gets intensely psychological. For instance, triggering emotional regression means tapping into their deep-seated childhood feelings, like a need for a protector or a need for pure, uncomplicated fun. You can introduce the allure of the taboo by giving them a safe way to explore something they've always secretly wanted to. You become their path to fulfillment, all while creating this insane tension by mixing pleasure with doubt to keep them totally captivated. And finally, in phase 4, you make the final move. All that groundwork you laid now pays off in a decisive action. You might create a little distance, which doesn't push them away. No, it sparks the thrill of the chase, making them want to close the gap. You build a raw, visceral connection through body language, not just words. And then, at the absolute peak of their desire, you act boldly. This is the climax of all your psychological work, leading to that final stage of influence and, of course, managing what comes next. Now, this 4-phase process is incredibly potent, but to really use it effectively, there are a few final principles you absolutely have to keep in your back pocket. Let's call them the essential rules of the game. So here's the bottom line. Always, always focus on that single, dominant psychological need you found earlier. People are complicated, sure, but there's usually one main thing driving them. Second, you have to remember that what people show the world is often a mask designed to hide their biggest insecurities. And finally, a huge one. Avoid trying to influence someone who is just like you. It doesn't create rapport, it just creates a power struggle. And that brings us to the end. We've seen that seduction, when you understand it as social power, is really a master skill of psychology and observation. It's about figuring out and fulfilling deep-seated human needs. But, like any powerful tool, it comes with a lot of responsibility. So the final question I want to leave you with is a simple one. How will you use it?